Hello, women warriors of the word. Welcome to today's 5 minutes of faith. And, I did something really stupid. It's not interesting, it's just a fact that no matter how much we love the Lord, sometimes there's just that moment, and we are not perfect creations. We are created in the image of God, but we are born into sin. And man, if I didn't just head first dive right in, so to speak, I haven't done that in a very long time. And the truth about sin is that sometimes it's subtle. If you're a new Christian, sometimes we don't know the things that are bad for us. The 10 Commandments are kind of obvious, but I didn't know whatever, moving on. But then you come into the season where you really know how to walk the walk, and you know what's expected, and you know what the word says. And that's really honestly where I'm at in my relationship with the Lord. I know the do's and I know the don'ts, and I usually don't do the don'ts. And I just fell flat on my face, sisters. I have no excuse. I have no reason. This is what I want to do, so I'm going to go do it. Which opened up a systematic approach for the enemy to be able to come into my world with his games. Now, the enemy will always try to steal, kill, and destroy. He will always come back around to us and see if he can't lead us into temptation. And I'm going back right now to really re-examine and see what I can learn from the patterns of my behavior and some of the things that were going on in my life that may have led up to this moment of just complete foolishness. And the hardest thing to come back to for me is the presence of the Lord after I have blatantly done what God has previously told me not to do. And I love and I'm thankful that in the eyes of God, there is no variance of degree. Sin is sin, period. But it took several days for me to be able to come back in truth and talk to God about my choices, how I honestly felt about them. And it took a few days because in the beginning, I wasn't repentive. I didn't have a repentive heart. I had fun. I had a couple of consequences, but I had fun. And Lord, I can't even talk to you because I'm not sorry I sinned. And that's where it started. And then I got super sick, like 102 fever, vomiting, the whole bit. And it wasn't a punishment, but it was this precious time that God ministered to my heart. He reminded me that I was born into sin. He reminded me that his expectation of me is not perfect. He reminded me that all he really wants right now is for me to be honest. God can work with us, daughters, sisters. He can meet us right where we are, but only if we're honest. And so the hardest thing I have ever had to tell God so far is I'm sorry for not being sorry. Change my heart. And he did. And the joyful truth of this walk of faith is we are going to fail. We are going to mess up. But God is always right here ready to catch us again. And as soon as I began to speak out loud, there was a shift that happened in the atmosphere in my home, and there was a release that took place. And this unbalance of dread and kind of this weird feeling of I wish I felt sorry, but I don't feel sorry, so I feel bad that I don't feel bad. And as soon as I began to be honest with God about how I was feeling about my choice, He was right there with me. With gentleness, He led me into a repentive heart, absent guilt and shame, and He renewed the peace that I had sacrificed for a moment of selfish desire. I share this with you so that you can be encouraged that God never leaves us. God never forsakes us. And if the hardest thing happening in your world right now is for you to open your mouth and be honest with God, my suggestion is, no matter what you're feeling, be honest. Just do it. Do it. God's waiting for you. Until next time, daughters, walk in faith.